My world fell apart on what should have been the happiest day of our lives, our 5th wedding anniversary. I'd planned a surprise for Morgan, a romantic dinner at the place we first met. I came home early, bouquet of her favorite lilies in hand, only to find the house empty. I figured she was running late, so I started setting up. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "You should know what your wife is really up to." Attached was a photo. It was Morgan laughing, holding hands with another man. My best friend Liam. My heart shattered into a million pieces. The lilies slipped from my hand, scattering across the floor. Denial was my first instinct. This had to be a mistake, a cruel prank. I called Morgan, my hands trembling. She answered, her voice breezy. "Hey Caleb, sorry. Got held up at work. Be home soon." Work? The photo was taken at a cafe downtown, miles from her office. The lie was so casual it cut deeper than the betrayal itself. I couldn't confront her, not yet. I needed to understand. I just mumbled, "Okay, see you soon," and hung up. When she finally walked through the door, she was all smiles, completely oblivious to the storm raging inside me. She kissed me and apologized again for being late. "Crazy day at the office," she said, glancing at the romantic setup. "Caleb, you remembered," she exclaimed. I played along, my heart a lead weight in my chest. Throughout dinner, I watched her, searching for any sign of guilt, any flicker of the woman I thought I knew. There was nothing. She was a perfect actress. That night, I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, the image of her and Liam burned into my mind. The next morning, I knew I couldn't live with the lies. I decided to confront her. I sat her down at the kitchen table and calmly said, "Morgan, we need to talk." I asked her where she was yesterday afternoon. She repeated the lie about work, even adding details about a difficult client. The ease with which she lied was chilling. I took a deep breath and showed her my phone. The color drained from her face. For a moment, she was speechless, caught. I expected tears, apologies, anything. But what came next shocked me to my core. Her shock turned to anger. "You're spying on me?" she yelled, her voice dripping with indignation. "This is what you do? You don't trust me?" She stood up, pacing the kitchen. "Maybe if you paid more attention to me, if you weren't so wrapped up in your own world, I wouldn't have to look for comfort elsewhere." She threw my own insecurities back at me, twisting the narrative until I was the villain. She claimed I was distant, emotionally unavailable, that I'd pushed her away. She was painting a picture of a neglected wife, desperate for affection, and I was the cold, uncaring husband, responsible for her affair. I was stunned into silence. She was blaming me for her cheating. It was a masterclass in manipulation. For a moment, I almost believed her. Had I been a bad husband? Did I drive her to this? Doubt crept in. A toxic weed? But then I remembered the lies, the casual deception, the happy look on her face in that photo with my best friend. This wasn't a cry for help. This was a calculated betrayal. Her words were just another layer of deceit designed to absolve her of all responsibility. I felt a new kind of anger brewing, a cold, hard resolve. She wasn't just a cheater. She was trying to destroy my sanity too. I let her tirade continue, let her spin her web of justifications. She accused me of being controlling, of never truly listening to her. It was a performance worthy of an Oscar. All the while, I was thinking about the past few months, the late nights at the office, the sudden girls' weekends, the way she'd guard her phone. It all clicked into place. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This had been going on for a while. All that time, she'd been playing the part of the devoted wife. While she was accusing me of being the problem, I was silently gathering my thoughts, preparing for my next move. When she finally ran out of steam, her chest heaving with fake outrage, I looked at her, my voice steady. "Are you done?" I asked. The question seemed to throw her off. "You're right," I said, and a flicker of triumph flashed in her eyes. "Maybe I have been distant." She nodded, ready to pounce on my admission. But I continued, "That doesn't excuse this." I then laid out my own evidence. I hadn't just received one photo. Over the past few weeks, a series of anonymous messages had come in. Photos of her and Liam at restaurants, a video of them kissing in his car, even hotel receipts. I had been saving them, hoping they weren't true. I calmly presented a folder I'd prepared. Inside were printouts of everything. The photos, the message logs, the receipts dated over the last 6 months. Her face went from defiant anger to pale, stark terror. The mask fell away completely. There was no more blame, no more justification. There was only the ugly, undeniable truth laid out on our kitchen table. She stared at the evidence, her mouth opening and closing with no sound coming out. The game was over. She couldn't manipulate her way out of this. The silence was deafening. She finally slumped into a chair, her face in her hands, and began to sob. But these weren't the crocodile tears from before. These were the tears of someone who had been caught, whose carefully constructed world of lies had just been demolished. She mumbled apologies, saying it didn't mean anything, that it was a mistake. But the words were hollow. 6 months is not a mistake. It's a choice, a series of choices made every single day. I told her I wanted a divorce. I told her to pack a bag and leave. I wanted her out of my house, out of my life. She begged and pleaded, but my heart was stone. The man who loved her had died the moment I saw that first photo. The man standing before her now was a stranger, determined to reclaim his life from the wreckage she had caused. Leaving her was the hardest and best decision I ever made. It was the first step toward healing and finding my own happiness again, a happiness I truly deserved. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you are not alone, and you have the strength to move forward. Please like and subscribe for more stories.